welcome to Splash Studio Online. My name is Jessie. I'm going to be teaching you guys this painting here called An Evening in Paris. So I'm going to tell you everything about the colors, the techniques, all the steps to get this painting done. So that being said, I am a recent graduate of the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, so I do a lot of free painting in my own time, so this is going to be a lot of fun for me. Hopefully it's just as much fun for you. So if you guys want to change anything about this painting, if you don't like the colors, don't like the Eiffel Tower, if you want to do something different, feel free to do so. And if at any point you guys need time for this paint to dry, or if you want to take a break or you need to work on something, just feel free to pause this video, and then when you're ready you can just go ahead and start it up again. So that being said, you guys have a few supplies to get this painting done. You should have a brush roll with 4 different kinds of brushes. You should have your large flat brush, your medium flat brush, medium round brush, and tiny detail brush. So I'll be telling you which ones we're going to be using throughout our painting here. You've also got this water cup. This is great for washing off your brushes when you need to change colors or when you're done using a certain brush, and it's also a good home base for them to sit so they don't dry out. On top of that, we've also got this handy dandy little rag that's great for drying off your brushes once you have washed them. So then I've also got some paint here. We're going to be using different colors here throughout our painting. You should have all of them ready. But to start, for the background here, we're just going to start on the sky, so we'll only really need blue, red, and white to start. So with all of that, I am going to start on this top of the sky here, this really dark, really pretty purple. I'm going to take my largest flat brush, and I'm going to take quite a bit of blue to start. And then I'm going to grab just a little bit of red to get a really pretty kind of a blue violet color. I'm adding only a little bit of red at a time so that I can kind of control how purple this color gets. But I like the look of that. So once you've got your color already, maybe I'll add a little bit more red, I don't know. Yeah, so once you've got your color ready, we're gonna do, like I said, the top half of our sky. Now you can see these kind of streaks going across it. We're gonna do that after, so we're gonna have this color kind of going at an angle. So I'm gonna cover most of the top with this. But then once I go down, I'm going to start to kind of streak this color down to the right. So it's a little bit higher on the left and lower on the right. And feel free to kind of keep your paint really streaky. So if you want to add some blues in there, some reds to kind of vary it up, feel free to do so. Kind of gives it a cool kind of variation in the color. So again, I'm just kind of bringing this color down in streaks, and if you also want it to be a bit smoother, you can add a little bit of water to get it to spread a little bit nicer. But I've just got my purple on there. I like how that looks. So, when that's done, I'm going to wash off my brush now. And next we're going to mix the second half of our sky, which is going to be this kind of pinky purple. We're going to go in at the same angle that we've been doing for our purple. So I'm going to take some white and some red, and then just a little touch of blue to get it to be a little bit more purpley. And then I'm going to go in and just kind of streak that into our sky. Kind of going into the purple so that you can see that it's kind of starting to blend out, making a nice little gradient. So then I'm just going to go down and cover almost the rest of my canvas with this color. But I'm going to stop at about the bottom fourth, I would say. This is where our land is going to be. So with that done, I'm actually going to switch to my medium flat brush, and what I'm going to do is get a bit lighter version of that pink that we made. So I'm just going to add a little bit of more white and red to get a lighter pink. And what I'm going to do is use the side, or the tip of my brush, not the larger flat side, but the tip. And I'm going to go in and make some of these wavy lines that look kind of like clouds in my painting. Maybe have clouds coming down, really streaky, really wavy. Don't be afraid to kind of break them up a little bit, make it look more natural. Yeah, I like the look of that. So now that that is done, we are going to take a short little break just to wait for all of this to kind of start to dry. It doesn't have to be completely dry before we start on our next step. We want it to kind of set into our canvas before we start on the next step. Alrighty guys, so once your sky is a little bit drier, we're going to go ahead to the bottom of our canvas and do the kind of city silhouette that we've got going on down here. So I'm going to take my medium flat brush, and what we're going to do is mix in some red with black, kind of equal parts to get just a kind of warmer black going on. Right there, got my warm black. And what you're going to do first is just cover the entire rest of the bottom of your canvas with this, just to make sure that there's no more white showing. And you want to make sure that your horizon is relatively straight. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we do have our cityscape going on here, so we want to make it kind of even. Sort of like that. It's not perfect, but doesn't have to be. And then what we're going to do is make some kind of subtle city silhouette shapes, like home. So I'm taking again my flat brush, and to do some kind of building like shapes, I guess, we're just gonna make some higher rectangle shapes that kind of pop up from that line. They don't have to be perfect, there doesn't have to be even a lot of them. You can have more of a natural scape if you want. So now that I've got those, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my detail brush really quick. Get that same color, maybe add some thinner shapes, maybe some trees are in the background, so I'll just add some pointier shapes. Maybe there's city spires in there, you never know. So I'll just add in some little city shapes to your skyline. Alrighty, so that is my city skyline. Now real quick before we take another short little break, I'm gonna go ahead and do the moon. That's really simple. All you're gonna do is get your medium round brush or your detail brush if you're more comfortable with that. You can use that one as well. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of white and mix it into that dark purple that we made for the first part of our sky. So it's just gonna be a little bit of a kind of a lavender. Not bright white, we don't want it to be too kind of poppy, but I'm just gonna get this color. So I added, again, white to my purple to get this lighter version of that color. And I'm just gonna add a very small circle in the upper right-hand area. Again, nothing too crazy. I might actually switch to my detail brush so I can get the edges a bit more nice. Just a small little circle. Like that. So now that we've got our moon, we're going to take a short little break again just to let this all dry before we start going in to the next couple of steps. Guys, so once your silhouette and all of this is nice and dry, we're going to start to work on the tower here itself. Now we're going to start in, we're going to go kind of in layers. So we've got this darker orange in the back that's going to be our base to kind of build the structure of the tower, and then we're going to go in with yellows and even some whites to add the other little pieces and parts and all the shine to make it look like it's all lit up at night. So to start, I'm going to go in with my medium flat brush. I want to make sure it's got all of the purple and pink and all the other colors out of it so it's nice and clean. And what I'm going to do is mix some white and orange together. So I've got some orange here. I'm going to find a nice little spot to mix that in with some white right on my palette. Now that I've got a light orange there, we're going to start by kind of plotting out where we want the points of our tower to be. So I'm going to start with the top, and it's going to be close to the top, as you might imagine. And it's just a little point right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I want the kind of feet of the tower to land. So there's going to be one over here. And one over here. The tower is mostly on kind of right side of our painting, so that's where it is going to land. So once I've got the feet in there, I'm going to go ahead and create that arch that's in the middle of the feet. So it's just going to be a simple little arch just like that. I'm kind of thickening it up so it has a nice structure to it. That. And then right above that, I'm going to create a horizontal bar that kind of goes, it kind of stretches to the outside of the feet, but not quite. The feet are a little bit longer. So I'm just going to start from the middle and go out on each side. Now that I've got that bar in there, I'm just going to kind of create some lines. Just connect this bar to the feet. And there's some kind of lines that arc inward just like that on both sides. Now if the foot of your Eiffel Tower goes off the canvas, that is a-okay. Not to worry. Fixing it up here. And then there is another thinner bar right above that longer one up here. So we're going to go all the way up and then make a shorter bar. And then what we're going to do is connect the top here with the middle of this arch. So I'm just going to go straight down. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, that is a-okay. And then lastly, we're just going to connect the outside of the top with the bottom. Some more curving lines here. And then connecting the top like a big old triangle. And it's okay if you need to go back and kind of fix up some of the shapes you made, because this dark orange color or light orange color is going to be behind the yellows and whites, so you won't be able to see it quite as much. Now that we've got the general shape of our Eiffel Tower in there, I am going to switch to my medium round brush. And we're going to get a lighter version of that, well, a lighter color in there to kind of start on all these other details here inside the Eiffel Tower. So I'm going to grab some yellow and some white to get a really light yellow. And first things first, you're going to outline all of those shapes that we just did kind of on the outside of them to create a border. So I'm doing an outside outline here, outside on the arch, outside. You're going to outline those bars that we made as well. And again, this is a more kind of painterly rendition of the Eiffel Tower, so if your lines aren't perfect, that is a-okay. And then for those lines, in between those two bars, we're going to create kind of outline shape for those. And then outline the bigger bar, or the smaller bar, sorry. And then outline that triangle we made at the top. And there's kind of a vertical bar of yellow just above that smaller one we made. And then what we're going to go in and do is all of these little lines that are inside. So this top portion has just some horizontal lines, so we're just going to go in and do some straight horizontal lines, and there's a little bit of a spire at the top as well, so I'll just make one right there. And then down in these two portions we've got some kind of crisscross lines, so I'll do some. And then this bottom part also has some vertical lines, just like that in this bar. And then this whole bottom section where the legs are has both crisscrosses and vertical and horizontal lines. So I'm going to do the crisscrosses first. And then I'll go ahead and do the horizontal and vertical lines. Alright, so once you guys have got that yellow in there, we're going to take a short break just to let this all dry, and then we're going to go in with some final highlights on our tower. Alrighty guys, so now we're going to go in and add some highlights and little finishing touches to our Eiffel Tower. So I'm going to take my tiniest detail brush and I'm going to dip into pure white. And you're just going to use this as a highlight color, so you don't have to use it everywhere. You're just going to kind of use it around the edges wherever you want there to be kind of like a shine to your Eiffel Tower. So edges are kind of the best place to add a shine, so that's where I'm going to do most of this. So you can follow along with me, or you can make your own areas for shine if you want. I'll just be doing this. And also, if you would like, feel free to add some little, you can see spot shines where it's like a little starburst coming off your Eiffel Tower. They just kind of look like little crosses, maybe a little extra shine in there. Alright, so now we've got our Eiffel Tower done. We can go and start working on the lights there in the cityscape. So what you can do is start off by using the same colors we've been using in the Eiffel Tower. So that light orange that we made first, we'll just start to do some circles for the larger city lights. You can also go in with your detail brush if you want to make some smaller ones. And then we'll go in with that lighter yellow that we did on the Eiffel Tower. And you can see that the lights kind of get really clustered together near the feet of the Eiffel Tower, and then everywhere else along this cityscape they get a little bit spaced farther apart, a little bit smaller. And then we can go in with the pure white and add lights along with that as well. And feel free to add more starbursts or spots of shine to these lights if you want. Make them look like they're really popping. Alright, so once you've got those colors in there, we can actually go in with some other colors as well, like a light blue. So I'll take some white and just a tiny bit of blue. And just add that as well, maybe a little bit more blue. Add some of those to your cityscape as well. You can always go back and forth with these colors if you feel like you want more white, more yellow, orange, blue, or what have you. It's up to you what colors you want to add. Alright, now that we've got all the city lights taken care of, all we have to do is the kind of foliage, the kind of tree line that we've got going on the bottom. We're going to take just a short little break just to let this all dry, and then we'll come back in and do the next steps once you're ready to unpause the video. Alrighty guys, so once you've got all the city lights in there and they're all dry, lastly we're just going to go in and add some of these stars here in the background as well as this tree line. But we'll start with the tree line. So I've got my medium round brush once more, and for this I mixed up a dark green for the base of that tree line. So I just took some yellow and some blue, mixed them right here on my palette. And we don't need to have much of a tree line here, it's just to kind of break up the space a little bit. So I'm just going to go in and add some of these little bits of foliage here to the bottom of our canvas. I'm adding some spots that are higher, some spots that are lower. There's like maybe some bushes, some trees, or what have you on the edge here. Once you've got that, there's not really any need to let it dry because we can just go in and add some other highlights. And for that, I am just going to add a little bit of white to that mixture that I just made. So that's blue and yellow, and now I've added a little bit of white to that to get a lighter green. And I'm just going to go in along the tops of my trees here and add this little highlight color just to give it a little bit of dimension. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then last but not least, we'll just add the stars in there. There's not a lot here, they're just kind of clustered around the moon. You can add as many or as few as you want, but the way that I like to do it is actually use the opposite end of my detail brush, so not the brush tip, but the handle part. And I'll just dip that straight in my white paint, and I'll just dot that around my moon. You can see it makes really nice round little dots. Perfect for stars. So I'll just add a couple of these. Not too many. Woo! Got my brush there. That'll happen. So I'll just add a couple of these around my sky. I like stars, so I'll tend to add quite a lot, but that's just me. And there you have it. You have your evening in Paris painting. So guys, keep on working on this if you want to add anything else to it, but the last thing I have for you is just to sign your painting. So I'm going to dip into just pure black in my detail brush, and I'm just going to take the bottom corner and put my initials right there so that everyone knows this is my painting. Everyone should know that it's your painting, that you're proud of it. Architecture can be hard, so I'm proud of you guys for sticking through it. I'm sure they all look great. In fact, you know, when you're done with this, if you want to post your images to Facebook or Instagram, feel free to tag us so you can see all of your wonderful creations. That being said, I hope you guys are all staying safe, staying healthy. Thanks for joining us here on Splash Studio Online, and we'll hope to see you again.